Good evening and welcome to Primetime News. I'm Sandro Ferdinando.
And I'm Omitra Bekun. Let's start off with a look at your headlines for tonight.
The headlines on Newsfirst.
US tariff relief could be near as ambassador signals positive update for Sri Lanka. GL takes opposition's judicial retirement age concerns to UN office. Government yet to decide on judges' retirement age request, says Minister Nalinda. Renewed Middle East conflict sparks fear over global oil prices and supply. Murugahakanda tunnel excavation completed. Spain reach World Cup final as France's title dream comes to an end. England and Argentina set for high-stakes World Cup clash.
In a top story for tonight, Sri Lanka's ambassador to the United States, Mahinda Samarasinghe, has said that the US is expected to deliver a positive response within the next few days regarding the reduction of tariffs imposed on Sri Lanka.
The ambassador made the remarks while attending a ceremony organized at a Buddhist temple in Washington ahead of the conclusion of his diplomatic tenure.
Mahinda Samarasinghe was appointed as Sri Lanka's ambassador to the United States on the 29th of November 2021 by then-President Gotabaya Rajapaksa. He subsequently assumed duties at the Sri Lankan embassy in Washington on the 1st of December 2021.
First of all, I must say that this government did not ask me to leave. When this administration came to power, there were 17 ambassadors appointed by the previous government. Of those 17, 16 were asked to return before the completion of their terms. I was told to remain and continue my work. I also worked very well with this government. There were no issues whatsoever. Just a few days ago, I was in contact with the President and obtained his signature for a Gazette notification that we issued. Through that process, we hope to share some very good news with the people of Sri Lanka in the near future as part of efforts to secure a further reduction in the tariff rate. The reason I was able to achieve such outcomes is because regardless of my political views or affiliations, I did not engage in politics from the day I assumed this position. Even when Ranil Wickremesinghe contested the presidential election, I did not go and campaign for him. I did not ask anyone here to support him either. Once I stepped away from politics, I stepped away completely. That is why I was able to work for my motherland and my country. These achievements were not mine alone. I received tremendous support from my entire embassy team.
Will he return to politics? This was Mahinda Samarasinghe's response.
Even after I return to Sri Lanka, I will continue to work for my motherland. That service will not stop. In fact, I will be even more committed and work with greater dedication after returning home. However, it will not be through politics. I do not intend to join any political party and I do not intend to engage in politics again. It is possible to serve the country without being involved in politics. At the same time, if this government seeks my assistance and believes I can contribute to its program of work, and if I'm asked to help, I will not hesitate to provide that service for the sake of the country. It was not the government that asked me to return. I was the one who expressed my desire to leave. In reality, I could have remained in office until December. Had I said I wished to stay longer, they would have happily allowed me to continue because there was never any issue between us at any stage. I believe I have performed my duties well.
Claiming that they oppose the proposal to extend the retirement age of judges, the group calling themselves the People's Joint Opposition, led by Professor G.L. Pieris, today handed over a letter to the United Nations office in Colombo. Joining Professor G.L. Pieris were United National Party General Secretary Talatatu Korala, Sri Lanka Pojana Peramana Representative Premanath C. Dolavatta, Sri Lanka Freedom Party's Dr. Suryan Raghavan, and former Governor Azad Sali.
We
informed the head of the United Nations at the Colombo office that nobody had requested this. The legal community is completely opposed to it. Civil society is opposed to it. The association representing judges, magistrates and district judges has now expressed strong opposition as well. So whose requirement is this? Is this really the priority? Another issue is that there is absolutely no transparency in this entire process. Nobody knows what exactly is being proposed. Up to now, There has been no clear statement from the government explaining what amendment is being introduced or the reasons behind it. The United Kingdom undertook a similar exercise in 2021. It took 1.5 years to reach a final conclusion. Public views were sought, particularly from the legal community and British universities. Around 1,200 responses were received and studied in depth before a final decision was made. Nothing of that sort has happened in our country. There has been no public discourse on this matter because the government's objective and the nature of the proposed amendment remains unclear. This is not something that can be done in this manner. Transparency is essential.
Professor G.L. Peiris, who today spoke as part of the People's Joint Opposition, was Sri Lanka's foreign minister when then Chief Justice Shirani Bandaranayake was removed from office through a parliamentary resolution in January 2013. In November 2012, a motion signed by 117 members of the then ruling party was presented, and within less than 3 months, the Chief Justice was removed from office. Her removal was celebrated with gatherings and jubilation outside the official residence of the Chief Justice. Here is a translated excerpt from the lengthy speech delivered by Professor G.L. Peiris in Parliament on the 10th of January 2013 during the debate on the motion to remove Chief Justice Shirani Bandaranayake.
Translated excerpt. 10th January 2013. Hansard Report. In truth, no law is written to endure forever. When social priorities change and when practical experience demonstrates that laws need to be amended and improved, that responsibility belongs to the legislature. Rewriting the law is not the function of the courts. My distinguished teacher, Dr. A.R.B. Amarasinghe, who later became a Justice of the Supreme Court, authored a work titled Judicial Conduct, Ethics and Responsibilities. In that book, Justice Amarasinghe stated, "If injustice arises from legislation and it becomes necessary to amend it, that change must be brought about through the democratic process. Therefore, the responsibility for making laws rests with Parliament, which consists of representatives elected by the people. However supreme a court may be, to suggest or to imply that it can assume the function of lawmaking is a constitutional fallacy and an act of disloyalty to the state." End of translated excerpt.
Meanwhile, opposition leader Sajith Premadasa also expressed opposition to the proposal to extend the tenure of judges.
The judiciary performs one of the most important functions in safeguarding democracy in a country. Today, the current government is exerting various forms of pressure on the judiciary. The attempt to increase the retirement age of Supreme Court judges from 65 to 67 and that of the Court of Appeal judges from 63 to 65 represents a serious interference with the independence of the honourable judges of the Supreme Court and the Court of Appeal. We strongly reject this attempt by the government to undermine democracy in this country. Furthermore, by failing to fill vacancies in both the Court of Appeal and the Supreme Court and allowing those positions to remain vacant, the government is exerting an additional and serious impact on the judiciary.
While the opposition leader was making these remarks, police arrested the Samagi Janapalavega's Hangurankita organizer, Jailath Dissanayake, over allegations that he fraudulently obtained more than 20 million rupees by promising to secure a liquor license. The alleged transaction had taken place in August 2024 in the run-up to the presidential election. Jailath Dissanayake, who is also the brother of former Minister S.B. Dissanayake, was produced before the Nugegoda Magistrates Court and was released on 2 personal bails of 10 million rupees each and a cash bail of 500,000 rupees after undertaking to repay the amount in question. As per the undertaking given before court, the first installment of 1 million rupees must be paid to the complainant on the 22nd of July. What is the proposal to extend the retirement age of judges? Minister of Health and Mass Media, Dr. Nalinda Jayatissa explained.
මේක අපි එකයි කිව්වේ මුල ඉඳලම මේ පොදුවේ රාජ්‍ය සේවයේ ඇතුළේම තිබෙන කතිකාවක් විශේෂයෙන්.
This is why we have said from the very beginning that this is a broader discussion taking place across the public service. In particular, this discussion has been taking place among highly experienced professionals in senior level fields. One factor influencing this is that between 2022 and 2024, a significant number of professionals left the country due to the COVID-19 crisis and the economic crisis. On the other hand, even when vacancies are advertised across different disciplines and sectors, many qualified individuals have emigrated, reducing the available talent pool. This has had an impact. Another factor is that in the past, retiring at the age of 55 or 60 was considered the norm. However, life expectancy at birth has now increased to around 70 years. Therefore, instead of retiring at 60, many people are capable of continuing to work for several more years. In some cases, individuals retire from the public service and then continue working in the private sector for another 10 to 12 years. It is due to all these factors that various professional groups have made such requests. Requests have been made, but the government has not yet reached a decision. We discussed the retirement age of judges serving in the Court of Appeal, the Supreme Court, the High Courts and other courts at the Cabinet meeting the day before yesterday. A decision on the matter will be taken in the future based on the observations and recommendations submitted by the Ministry of Justice.
විනිශ්චයකාරුන්ගේ විශ්‍රාමන අවස්ථ සම්බන්ධයෙන් අපි පෙරේද කැබිනට් මණ්ඩලය සාකච්ඡා කළා. අධිකරණ අමාත්‍යාංශයෙන් ලැබෙන කරුණු දැක්වීම අනුව ඉදිරියේදී ඒ සම්බන්ධයෙන් තීන්දුවක් ගෙනෙවි.
Starting off your world news in the Middle East, US President Donald Trump has said that fresh attacks against Iran could commence as early as next week if they do not resume negotiations once again with Tehran.
Jana Ratnayaka brings us the latest.
Thank you, Sandru and Obetra. As you guys mentioned, we will be drawing your attention first to the renewed tensions that are taking place in East Asia. And as mentioned earlier, US President Donald Trump has in fact warned that the United States could launch fresh attacks on Iranian bridges and power plants as early as next week if Tehran does not return to the negotiating table. It has now been 4 days since the latest escalation in hostilities between the United States and Iran. Meanwhile, Iran has launched missile and drone attacks against US targets located in Jordan, Kuwait and Bahrain. Here's more.
US President Donald Trump has withdrawn a previous threat to impose a 20% charge on all cargo vessels transiting the Strait of Hormuz. However, the naval blockade imposed on Iranian ports remains in force. The US launched a fresh round of strikes on Iran early this morning, hours after President Donald Trump warned military strikes would intensify next week if Tehran does not cooperate in peace talks. Trump hinted that the conflict was more likely to intensify than de-escalate as a fragile ceasefire, agreed last month, continues to fracture. He added that US forces would go on to target key Iranian infrastructure next week without a diplomatic breakthrough. US Central Command stated that strikes were carried out against several locations in Iran with the objective of reducing Tehran's ability to threaten vessels transiting through the Strait of Hormuz. CENTCOM also accused Iran of targeting civilians in the region by attacking 7 commercial vessels. Iran, meanwhile, says it carried out missile and drone attacks against US targets in Jordan, Kuwait and Bahrain. International media, citing security authorities in those countries, reported that many of the incoming attacks were successfully intercepted. The continued exchange of attacks has also caused periodic disruptions to air travel across the Middle East. Sri Lankan Airlines confirmed that 2 of its flights bound for Dammam and Kuwait were required to remain airborne for approximately 1 hour yesterday, following warnings of potential attacks affecting the airspace. The airline stated that it is continuing to coordinate closely with airport authorities and relevant agencies to ensure the safe operation of its services.
Yesterday we witnessed something kind of missiles going around somewhere near Kuwait, and the airspace was closed accordingly. And at that time, 2 Sri Lankan flights were heading to, one is to Dammam, other one is to Kuwait. And those were held on air for nearly 1 hour, and we managed to safely land the aircraft and return back to Colombo. So since that event, we have taken every measure to safeguard our flight and the crew and the passengers. So accordingly, we also today had a big meeting connecting all the regional country managers and all the stakeholders from respective countries. What can we do and assess the situation? So accordingly, most of the airports are not affected directly, but only the air spaces are closed. So at the moment, we fly daily flight to Dammam and for 4 days to Kuwait. So today we also have a Dammam flight, but we are operating at this moment. We assess the security situation there. I mean, in and out there can be situation closure of the air spaces, but we assess the situation at this moment. We are operating our flights to respective areas as scheduled.
Renewed hostilities between the United States and Iran have once again sent global crude oil prices sharply higher. Brent crude, one of the world's leading oil benchmarks, climbed to $86.44 per barrel. Meanwhile, US benchmark West Texas Intermediate or WTI crude traded at $80.77 per barrel. International media reported that immediate delivery prices have risen above longer-term futures prices for the first time in a month, reflecting growing concerns over potential supply disruptions linked to Middle East tensions. As of this morning, Brent crude contracts for September delivery were trading at $85.79 per barrel. By comparison, Brent contracts for delivery 6 months later were priced at $77.49 per barrel. This represents a difference of approximately $8 per barrel, with spot and near-term supply commanding a premium over long-term contracts. According to data compiled by Reuters, front-month Brent contracts were trading $8.92 per barrel above 6-month contracts. That marks the widest premium recorded since the 10th of June, just days before the now-collapsed understanding reached between Washington and Tehran. Before the outbreak of the latest Iran-US conflict, nearly one-fifth of the world's oil and liquefied natural gas suppliers were transported through the Strait of Hormuz. However, following the latest attacks and the worsening crisis, maritime traffic through the strategic waterway has become increasingly unstable. Analysts have also warned that Iran has signaled the possibility of using its Houthi allies in Yemen to threaten or potentially disrupt navigation through the Bab el-Mandeb Strait, another vital global shipping route connecting to the Red Sea. Should that occur, two of the world's most important maritime energy corridors could face severe disruption, placing additional pressure on global energy markets and intensifying concerns over oil supply security worldwide.
Still in news from the global arena, Iraqi Prime Minister Ali al-Zaidi is in the United States for talks with US President Donald Trump in what has become his first foreign trip since taking office earlier in May. During this week's meetings, al-Zaidi is expected to sign agreements in energy and trade while also boosting investment with US companies.
Iraq's Prime Minister Ali al-Zaidi arrived in Washington on Monday for a long-anticipated visit. The new Prime Minister is seeking to increase ties with the United States. Iraq is at another crossroads today as the Iraqi leader seeks to rein in Iranian-backed militias while also managing the withdrawal of US forces stationed in Iraq as part of the war against ISIS. The US had withdrawn from Iraq in 2011 but returned in 2014 to help it fight the terror organization. The US also has an important presence in the Kurdistan region of Iraq. US President Donald Trump gave Iraq's new Prime Minister an effusive welcome at the White House yesterday.
I just want to say it's a great honor to have the Prime Minister of Iraq with us. He's been a great fighter and he's been a great fan of America. We'll be discussing that a little bit with you, but they have tremendous oil reserves. They have tremendous potential wealth, and they have tremendous wealth, not only potential. But he's done in a short period of time, he's changed that country so much, especially toward their thinking about the United States. And we have partnerships.
Ali al-Zaidi emerged as a consensus candidate in Iraq after months of deadlock over the premiership following last year's parliamentary elections. Trump endorsed al-Zaidi for the job that he threatened to cut off US support for Iraq if another candidate became the country's next prime minister. During bilateral discussions between President Trump and Prime Minister al-Zaidi speaking through an interpreter, al-Zaidi said that he was conveying his greetings from the quote-unquote oldest civilization in the world and that the focus of his visit would be to announce an economic partnership between the two countries. Al-Zaidi stressed that there will be no justification for their existence after 30th of September.
By 30th of September, the US forces will be out of Iraq,
وسوف تدخل الشركات الأمريكية
while the US companies will be inside Iraq.
ودائما تخلق العلاقة المجتمعية هي الشراكة الاقتصادية وليس العسكرية.
While the social relations is about like economy, it's not like about like military relations.
أنقل تحياتي
I would convey my greetings
من أقدم حضارة في العالم
the oldest civilization in the world
إلى أكبر قلب اقتصادي في العالم وتكنولوجي.
economic and technology heart in the world.
وأكرر شكري إلى فخامة الرئيس على حفاوة الاستقبال.
My thanks to His Excellency the President for the warm welcome.
The two governments are also poised to finalize a significant energy deal.
World News. Watch the FIFA World Cup live, where the best football teams in the world compete. Live matches, Rewind TV, highlights, reels. Watch it all for free. Download the Pure mobile app now. Watch the FIFA World Cup live, where the best football teams in the world compete. Live matches, Rewind TV, highlights, reels. Watch it all for free. Download the Pure mobile app now.
Join us on 16th July at AHRP. Marks 25 years of shaping the future of work and organizations in Sri Lanka. As we celebrate this milestone at Cinnamon Life City of Dreams, we honor a legacy of leadership while looking ahead to the next chapter of the HR profession in Sri Lanka.
Welcome back to the news. Moragahakanda and Kaluganga Reservoir's ambitious water transfer project reached a historic milestone today with the completion of excavation work on the tunnel segment of the Maha, which is designed to carry surplus water to the north-central province. The irrigation tunnel stretches for 27.7 kilometers and is regarded as the longest irrigation tunnel in South Asia.
The Kaluganga Reservoir was constructed by damming the Kaluganga, a tributary of the Mahaveli River in the Laggala area. The Moragahakanda Reservoir was built across the Ambanganga, another major tributary of the Mahaveli River. Under the project, excess water from the Kaluganga Reservoir is transferred to the Moragahakanda Reservoir through an underground tunnel extending approximately 9 kilometers. A key objective of the overall irrigation scheme is to channel excess water from Moragahakanda to the north-central province. Construction of the central canal was initiated to convey Mahaveli waters over a distance of nearly 95 kilometers from the Moragahakanda Reservoir to the Mahakanada Reservoir. A nearly 28-kilometer section of the canal, extending from Alahara, Konduruvava to Palugasweva in Anuradhapura, has been developed as an underground tunnel. Excavation of this tunnel was officially completed today.
Excavation work began using two state-of-the-art tunnel boring machines. The first TBM commenced operations in 2022 from Mahamigasweva in Palugasweva, Anuradhapura, while the second TBM began tunneling in 2023 from Konduruvava in Alahara, Punanarwa. Today marks the moment when the two machines met beneath the earth. In the engineering field, this achievement is known as a breakthrough.
අවුරුදු 4ක පරිශ්‍රමයක ප්‍රතිඵලයක් අපි දකින්නේ ඓතිහාසික අවස්ථාවක් TBM යන්ත්‍ර දෙකක් එකිනෙකට හමු වෙන ස්ථානයේ මේ අවස්ථාවේදී මට දැනෙන්නේ විශාල සතුටක්.
ලංකාවේ දිගම උමම් මාර්ගයේ පැය 24ක් දවස් 365ම අපි වැඩ කරලා කිසිදු ජීවිත හානියක් නැතුව උමම් මාර්ගයේ වැඩ කටයුතු අද දිනේ අපි සාර්ථකව නිම කරා. ඒක අපි ලබපු බොහොම ලොකු ජයග්‍රහණයක් විදිහට අපි සලකනවා.
The entire irrigation system associated with this project extends close to 240 kilometers, where the canal passes through wildlife zones. A cut and cover construction method has been used to minimize environmental impacts and prevent harm to wildlife by excavating and subsequently restoring the surface.
The Central Canal is expected to supply water to 12 major irrigation schemes and 1,505 bavers connected to 130 Lanka or cascade systems. The project is also expected to deliver direct benefits to approximately 25,000 farming families while enabling the cultivation of nearly 74,000 hectares of farmland during both the Yala and Maha seasons. One of the most significant aspects of this project is its potential to provide clean drinking water to communities in the North Central province, helping address the long-standing challenge posed by chronic kidney disease of unknown etiology or CKDU, which has affected residents in the region for decades. Once the remaining phases of the project are completed in the coming years, reservoirs including Huruluvavar, Nachaduva, Tissavava and Mahakanadarava are expected to receive continuous supply of water. In the near future, the Maha is expected to release approximately 70 million cubic meters of water annually to the North Central province, helping meet the water requirements of nearly 1.5 million people. An open warrant was issued against Priyanka Nayamali Vijayanayaka, the wife of former Sri Lankan Airlines Chief Executive Officer Kapila Chandrasena, in connection with the ongoing investigation into the Airbus scandal. The order was issued today by the Colombo Fort Magistrate Pasan Amarasena when the case was taken up before court. The CID informed court that a prior warrant had already been issued against Priyanka Nayamali Vijayanayaka, who has been named as the second suspect in the case, and requested that an open warrant be issued in English. After considering the request, the magistrate granted the order. During the proceedings, President's counsel Anil Silva, appearing on behalf of the two sureties who had provided bail for the second suspect, requested that former Sri Lanka cricketer Aravinda De Silva and his wife be released from their obligations as sureties. President's counsel Silva told court that the two sureties required permission to travel overseas. Counsel further informed court that the bail amount of 10 million rupees could be forfeited. However, after examining the case record, the magistrate noted that it was not a 10 million rupees bail, but rather a bail bond valued at 20 million rupees. The court further observed that reasons must be presented before any order is made to forfeit the bail amount. Accordingly, the magistrate ordered the two sureties who stood bail for Priyanka Nayamali Vijayanayaka to submit written reasons seeking their release from the surety obligations and to explain the circumstances relating to the forfeiture of the bail bond. The case was postponed and will be taken up again on the 22nd of July.
Sarath Weerawansa, a brother of former Minister Vimal Weerawansa, has been remanded until the 22nd of July after being produced before the Colombo Fort Magistrates Court this afternoon. He was arrested in Gampaha by officers attached to the Police Financial Crimes Investigation Division. Police said the arrest was made in connection with an investigation into the alleged misuse of vehicles belonging to the State Engineering Corporation.
Sri Lanka's first ever AI-enabled robotic assisted surgery.
Coming up.
The number of dengue cases reported in Sri Lanka so far this year has risen to 71,235. A total of 49 deaths have also been reported during the same period.
The National Dengue Control Unit says 1,284 dengue cases were reported across the country within the past 24 hours alone. The highest number of cases continue to be reported from the Gampaha and Colombo districts. The unit further stated that 175 MOH divisions across the island remain classified as high-risk dengue zones.
Of the total cases reported, 20.69% have been recorded from the Gampaha district in the Western Province. A further 19.97% have been reported from the Colombo district, while 6.67% have been recorded from the Kalutara district. These three districts continue to report the highest number of dengue cases in Sri Lanka. In the Southern Province, Mathura accounts for 7.9% of cases and Galle for 5.69%. Making it the second most affected province. In the Sabragamua province, Ratnapura accounts for 5.71% of cases, while Galle has reported 2.89%. These are among the provinces reporting the highest number of dengue patients. The Central Province, particularly Kandy district, along with the Badulla district in the Uva province and the Puttalam and Kurunegala districts in the Northwestern Province, are also reporting comparatively high number of cases.
The government has meanwhile decided to launch a new mosquito control program targeting areas identified as experiencing an increase in dengue transmission.
With the support of the security forces and community organizations, a program was launched to carry out mosquito control activities and clean-up campaigns in public spaces through voluntary community participation. This program continued up to last Monday. However, during a discussion held at the Clean Sri Lanka Secretariat on Monday with all relevant institutions, it was revealed that the measures implemented have contributed to a decline in case growth within some of the affected divisions. At the same time, increases have been observed in a number of newly identified MOH divisions. Accordingly, under the leadership of the Ministry of Health, 40 additional MOH divisions have now been identified for intervention. This brings the total number of targeted divisions to 63. From tomorrow, we will expand the same program that was previously implemented in 23 divisions to all 63 identified divisions. Stop Dengue Now. The National Dengue Control Program continued in the Western Province today as well. This program is organized by the Maharaja Media Network, led by Newsfirst, in collaboration with the Ministry of Health and the Ministry of Mass Media, focusing on the districts of Colombo, Kalutara and Gampaha. The team touring the Colombo district was engaged in raising public awareness about dengue prevention in the Kirulapana area today. The team travelling in the Gampaha district visited the Negombo area today. Another team from the Stop Dengue Now National Dengue Control Program visited the Kalutara area.
I am here at the Vaduegama area in Biyagama, where the Stop Dengue Now National Dengue Eradication Program, launched by the Newsfirst-led Maharaja Media Network in collaboration with the Ministry of Health, took place once again today, this time in the Biyagama Grama Nilidari division. Now, for today's program, we were joined by the Red Cross organization, the Biyagama MOH and the Biyagama Divisional Council, as well as the Biyagama Divisional Secretariat Office. And we also had much help from the public. Now, Biyagama is known as a red zone for dengue. So today's examinations were done very thoroughly. We examined over 1,000 houses and we looked for dengue breeding sites in those houses and in those structures, and we found quite a few. Now, one special point that was brought up while we were examining these places is that in many homes, even though the house itself is clean, the roof and the tiles of the roof were filled with water, and those water points were stagnating, and there is a big possibility that dengue larvae and dengue mosquitoes can be breeding in those places. So health officials today urge the public in this area to specially not only clean their houses but also to clean their roofs and all their immediate environmental spots to make sure that there is no stagnating water bodies anywhere in their houses or on their roofs. Reporting to you from Biyagama for Newsfirst, I am Swaliza Rhiannon.
Watch the FIFA World Cup live, where the best football teams in the world compete. Live matches, Rewind TV, highlights, reels. Watch it all for free. Download the Pure mobile app now.
A night of passion, pressure and pure football brilliance belonged to Spain.
With a place in the FIFA World Cup final on the line, La Roja rose to the occasion, delivering a masterclass against Kylian Mbappe and France to book their ticket to the biggest match in the world football and keep their dream of lifting the World Cup alive.
Therni Karnaratna has more from the Football Corner.
The road to football immortality just got even more dramatic. The first semi-final of the 2026 FIFA World Cup delivered a blockbuster showdown as France and Spain went head-to-head under the bright lights of Dallas with more than 70,000 passionate fans, creating an electrifying atmosphere. Now, much of the pre-match spotlight was on Kylian Mbappe and France, with many expecting France to book their place in the final. However, Spain had other plans. From the opening whistle, La Roja played with confidence, intensity and purpose, taking control of the contest against the star-studded French side. The breakthrough arrived in the 22nd minute when Mikel Oyarzabal coolly converted a penalty to send Spanish fans into celebration mode. Well, this was Oyarzabal's 5th goal of the tournament, further cementing his status as one of Spain's key men on their World Cup charge. Spain carried a deserved 1-0 advantage into half-time, while France struggled to find the spark needed to unlock the Spanish defense. Now, as pressure mounted on Mbappe and company, Spain delivered the knockout blow in the 58th minute. Pedro Porro surged forward and found the back of the net, doubling Spain's lead and putting one foot firmly in the FIFA World Cup final. France searched desperately for a way back into the match, but Spain's organization, composure and relentless energy kept them at bay. And when the final whistle sounded, it was Spain celebrating a commanding 2-0 victory, securing their place in the biggest match in world football. Now, this triumph marks only the 2nd time in history that Spain have reached a FIFA World Cup final. Their previous appearance came in 2010, and they went all the way and lifted football's most coveted trophy. Now, just one final hurdle stands between Spain and another date with destiny. Who will face Spain in the final? All eyes now turn to the 2nd semi-final, where football giants Argentina and England will collide in Atlanta tomorrow at 12:30 a.m. Sri Lanka time. Will Lionel Messi's defending world champions Argentina produce another masterclass on the grandest stage? Or can Harry Kane and England finally end their long wait for World Cup glory? Well, one thing is certain, another unforgettable FIFA World Cup night awaits. Football fans across Sri Lanka can watch the match live on Sirasa TV and TV1, the licensed broadcasting rights holders in Sri Lanka for the 2026 FIFA World Cup.
Weather first.
A strong southwest monsoon system continues to influence weather conditions across Sri Lanka, prompting the Department of Meteorology to issue a warning for strong winds.
Viara Virakon tells us more.
Yes, thank you, Sandhya and Omitra. Now, according to the Department of Meteorology, in a weather advisory warning issued by the Met Department, strong winds across several parts of Sri Lanka due to the prevailing active monsoon conditions are expected. Now, it is expected to affect around the island, and in the advisory, strong winds with speeds of between 40 and 50 kilometers per hour are expected at times in the northern, north central, northwestern provinces, as well as in the Hambantota, Trincomalee and Matale districts. Meanwhile, a few showers are likely in the western, Sabaragamu and northwestern provinces and in the districts of Kandy, Nuwara Galle and Mathura. The Meteorology Department further stated that generally dry weather conditions are also expected to prevail across most other parts of the country.
Weather first. Watch the FIFA World Cup live, where the best football teams in the world compete. Live matches, Rewind TV, highlights, reels. Watch it all for free. Download the Pure mobile app now.
Prime Minister Dr. Harini Amarasuriya, who departed Sri Lanka earlier today to travel to the state of Qatar to express condolences following the passing of the former Emir, arrived in Lusail Palace in Doha today. Upon arrival in Qatar, the Premier met His Highness the Emir of Qatar, Sheikh Tamim bin Hamad Al Thani.
During the meeting, Prime Minister Dr. Harini Amarasuriya conveyed the condolences of the government and the people of Sri Lanka to the Emir of Qatar on the passing of the former father Emir, Sheikh Hamad bin Khalifa Al Thani, reaffirming the long-standing friendship between Sri Lanka and Qatar. Also present at the official meeting were the Deputy Emir of Qatar, Sheikh Abdullah bin Hamad Al Thani, the Prime Minister and Minister of Foreign Affairs, Sheikh Mohammed bin Abdul Rahman bin Jasim Al Thani, the Speaker of the Shura Council, Hassan bin Abdullah Al Ghanim, senior members of the royal family, the sons of the late former Emir, and other members of the ruling family.
Sri Lanka has officially entered a new era of medical precision with the introduction of advanced AI-enabled robotic-assisted surgeries. Newsfirst's Nisindhi Jairatna and Clementina Dean brings you this exclusive report. Sri Lankan medical fraternity entered a new chapter in healthcare after the successful completion of its first ever AI-enabled robotic-assisted surgeries.
Sri Lanka has reached a new milestone in medical innovation with the successful introduction of Sri Lanka's first AI-enabled robotic-assisted surgery. And this surgery was carried out yesterday in a private hospital in Colombo.
The surgeries were carried out using a state-of-the-art robotic surgical system which combines advanced robotics, artificial intelligence and surgeon-controlled precision technology. The two procedures included the removal of the uterus of a 50-year-old female patient and a complex kidney surgery performed on another patient. The robotic-assisted laparoscopic surgery was conducted by consultant gynecological cancer surgeon Dr. Chintana Hapuachige, while consultant urological surgeon Dr. Nuwan Premchandra performed the complex kidney surgery.
අපි පළවෙනි වතාවට තමයි ලංකාවේ robotic assisted laparoscopic surgery එකක් කරේ.
We performed the first robotic-assisted laparoscopic surgery in Sri Lanka. The first patient was a woman around 50 years of age who was suffering from heavy menstrual bleeding and had been diagnosed with a condition called adenomyosis. Her hemoglobin level was around 8. Initially, she was treated with medication, but later it was decided that surgery was required. The procedure involved removing the uterus. After explaining the procedure in detail, she agreed to undergo robotic-assisted laparoscopic surgery. As with any surgery, obtaining informed consent is essential. Performing robotic surgery requires specialized training. However, if a surgeon is already competent and skilled in open surgery or conventional laparoscopic procedures, the learning curve for robotic surgery is much shorter. There is currently a misconception among the public that the robot performs the surgery independently, which has caused some patients to feel hesitant. However, that is not how robotic surgery works. The surgery is performed by a skilled surgeon who controls the robotic arms and uses the technology as an advanced surgical tool. Therefore, it is not an automated process that operates beyond the surgeon's control. When performed by an experienced and skilled surgeon, robotic surgery can help achieve better surgical outcomes with minimal complications.
Surgical skills ගැන දන්න හින්දා ඒතර robotic surgery එකක් කරන්න යා කැමති වුණා.
The robotic platform, which is certified under the European conformity, is designed to enhance surgical accuracy by assisting surgeons throughout complex procedures. The lead surgeons who performed these procedures underwent specialized overseas training in robotic-assisted surgical techniques before introducing the technology in Sri Lanka.
Since it's AI enabled, that also gives a significant
benefit to the consultant. Ergonomics of the machines really good. So considering all that factors, it will be a really easy, comfortable surgical environment for the consultant or the surgeon as well as to the patient. So definitely intense robotic surgical experience is required. The training is definitely a must. So we do all trainings overseas. So that way all our consultants would require a specific training before touching, as in before starting to operate. So we have approximately around 10 of them trained, and we are upcoming batches. We might even do more than 100. We don't have a count yet. So more the better. So they can all start using and get involved with the new technology of medicine.
More Sri Lankan doctors are also expected to receive specialized training in robotic surgery in the coming years, paving the way for wider adoption of this advanced medical technology in the country.
Newsfirst Nuwara provincial correspondent journalist Sampath Jalal, who was laid to rest this evening in Nuwara, and he served with dedication as a Newsfirst regional correspondent for more than 2 decades, making a lasting contribution to journalism.
Journalist Sampath Jalal, who had been battling an illness for some time, passed away on the 13th of July. Born on the 5th of January 1966, Sampath Jalal received his education at Gamini Mahavidyalaya, Nuwara. Known as a trusted and familiar figure among the people of the hill country, Sampath was a dedicated journalist who carried out his duties with professionalism and commitment. Beyond his work in news reporting, he also played an active role in the many public service initiatives undertaken by the Maharaja Media Network, generously contributing his time and effort to serve the community. Farewell, dear Sampath. May you attain the supreme bliss of Nibbana.
The 31st Sumadhi Awards is being held with much grandeur and fanfare in Colombo tonight. Newsfirst and Sirasa TV won a number of accolades at the 31st edition of the Sumadhi Awards, securing top honours across multiple categories.
The 31st Sumadhi Award ceremony is being held focusing on successes achieved in 2025. Kasun Udayangarachi of Newsfirst won the Best Television Documentary for producing Save the Sri Lankan Leopard. At this year's award ceremony, Sirasa TV's digital division won 2 awards in the digital media program category. The awards were presented for 2 digital features produced by Sirasa TV Digital. Tinnoru Pujava, created as part of the globally acclaimed Surinduta Kataragama program, and A Loving Journey to Sri Lanka's Most Beautiful School, Tikiri Sinhabak, a special feature produced to mark World Children's Day.
Sirasa TV Digital Kanda Suridun Venuven Karana Tinnoru Pujava Unusum
මගේ මේ නලලේ ගාලා තියෙන්නේ මෙන්න මේ උඩුම තමයි මම අද ඇවිල්ලා ඉන්නවා කතර ගමට කතර ගම ආවා
Sirasa TV Digital ලංකාවේ ලස්සනම ඉස්කෝලේට ගිය ආදරණීයම ගමන
ඉස්කෝලේ නම බදුල්ල රිදී මාලියද්ද කුඩාලුණක කනිෂ්ඨ විදුහල්.
Meanwhile, Newsfirst Sanoj Muthumal won the award for Best News Presenter of the Year.
Sirasa TV Sanoj Muthumal Pranandu.
The award ceremony was further invigorated by a variety of colourful performances.
And with that, we wrap up news for tonight.
Thank you for watching. Good night.